Hey, howdy, hey. Y'all welcome on into my burrow. My name's Jack. I'm a jackalope. This here is my goodest buddy, Buck.
And
He's
I'm
not a
not a jackalope.
he's not a jackalope or a buckalope. He's just a
Oh, that's
rabbit.
loud. There you go.
What's loud?
Nothing. Listeners,
Nothing.
you won't be able to hear it. I was turning music on, so it's just not quiet for us. But we
No,
don't let you guys hear that part.
I don't even hear it.
I haven't shared it yet. That's why.
We're just gonna insert a loud noise actually. I lied. We're not doing that. Um, so this topic that we're gonna get into today is one that we brought up several weeks ago, like a month and a half ago. But we never really got to it because we started pushing it back further and further because we felt like
hmm
it required a lot more research on our part,
Yeah.
and for good reason.
But we feel
Because
like it's still pretty relevant right now.
it is very relevant, but it's for good reason because I think even still, after all of the research, we don't completely know exactly where we stand, really,
hmm
or where what we can't say one way or the other, but we do have our beliefs. I mean, we've kind of
Yeah.
landed where
Where
we
our
think,
our leanings are.
right, but we could not tell you emphatically one way or the other.
Yep.
And just so that y'all know what we're talking about, so you'll understand, we're talking about Michael Jackson and all of his allegations.
Yep.
So I guess without any further ado or Mountain Dew, let's get into it.
Down and down the rabbit hole, just how deep does it go? Where it stops, nobody knows. So let's go down the rabbit hole. Down and down the rabbit hole. Down and down the rabbit hole.
So Michael Jackson,
Michael Jackson.
first
One
of
of the
all,
greatest songwriters of all time.
dancers,
Yep.
musicians. I mean,
Yep.
you cannot deny his talent.
No, it's the amount of singles and influence that he had. I mean, I think people could argue that Thriller may be one of the greatest. I mean, it could be the greatest song of all time for a lot of people.
Sure.
And there's so many other ones. Man in the Mirror, Bad, Black or White. It's
He is.
just
So it's funny because you know this, that Elvis was like my favorite growing up.
mhm.
Elvis died in 77, so a few years before I was born.
Mhm.
Coney, my oldest, his favorite is Michael Jackson, who died, like a few years
That's
before he was
funny.
born.
Yeah.
There's the
Yeah.
king of rock and then the king of pop, and
Which
so
do have a connection.
they do have a
Funnily
connection.
enough.
As he married the king of rock's daughter. He married Elvis's daughter, Lisa Marie, at one point.
Yeah.
Um, and so in our growing up, I don't know. I remember being at a puppet show one time, or I don't know, it was at the fairgrounds or something. And I believe you were there with me. I think it was you. And there was yeah, I'm about 99% sure this was you, whether
I
you
remember
remember.
going to the fair with our moms one time.
This wasn't, well, this was during the day,
hmm
and there was a puppet show, but it was like marionette puppet.
hmm
And there was a Michael Jackson puppet, and it was the before the skin bleaching, before the
It was
you
supposed
know
to be prior to like
yeah, but it was black.
yeah.
It was Black Michael, and he had the
Mhm.
red Thriller jacket on and the glove and all that kind of stuff. But it was a little puppet, and I just remember me and you having a conversation about how he was white now, but then he was black, and not in a bad kind of way. We're just like, oh, he's changed different. And that's supposed to be Michael Jackson. I remember that conversation taking place, and I can't remember everything
Yeah.
that we said, but I do remember that puppet. It specifically sticks out of my mind. And so he was big even then. We grew up
hmm
with him That's how we grew up with him.
I mean, he was a part of household conversation since the
Yeah.
60s.
Yeah, when
Because
he in Jackson
whenever he was in
5,
Jackson 5, yeah, he was essentially the
like
front man of Jackson 5, even as a 10-year-old kid.
I mean, I think he
Um,
was maybe even 6 years old or so when they started, and
yeah,
he dwarfed his older brothers
yeah.
in talent.
Well, the craziest thing is how big his voice was for
Yeah,
singing, but
and a
how
cute
small it
little
was
kid.
for speaking. Like they always had really like soft spoken voices.
Hmm.
I know a lot of people, and I know this isn't really the topic, but a lot of people say that Michael was putting on a voice for him. People even said, "Oh, that was just something he did," but his real black person voice would come out. I don't really think that's the case personally. I think they spoke that way. I think the family spoke that way because Janet speaks that way, Latoya speaks that way. Some of the other brothers speak that way. Not all of them, but I think
Not to
that
the
was
extent that his was.
no, his was
I
definitely the
do.
softest, but they did
I
speak
think
that way.
that I think that he spoke that way, but he did put on more. That's how
And
I
it's possible. I think
because
it could
there
also
are
go ahead.
so there's you could find video of him when he was younger and he didn't speak quite that way. He wasn't to that point yet. I think as he got older, he leaned more into it.
Yeah. I also think that he had some pretty weird beliefs about how to approach things in life. And I think one reason he may have put it on a little bit more than the others was because he believed that it was good for his singing voice. Um,
Hmm.
because he's made comments about like decisions like that. But
Sure.
so anyways, we're
And
talking about
I can see that as when Jill was in college, there were certain music she was double majoring at one point as music and theater, and then our college got a musical theater degree, and so she went that way. And she was like the first one to graduate with a musical theater degree at our college. But um that some of the music kids would talk in certain ways, or they would push their voices more into their noses. And I remember one of the professors over music telling her, she should sing more in her nose and she should talk higher and all this kind of stuff for those things. So I can understand that if that's that is a
yeah,
thought, whether that's true or
yeah.
not, I can understand that is a thought.
Funny thing. Did you know Michael Jackson was in a fighting video game?
Really?
Like Street Fighter. It might have been a
Well,
Capcom video game. It wasn't Street Fighter, but it was that style of game. And he put on a voice that's not the voice that we know and
what game
love.
was it?
I can't remember what it was called. Um, but so
I would love to find that.
but
And I believe he was going to be, or he wanted to be, in Star Wars,
oh yeah,
uh,
I don't think I knew that.
but he wanted to play like in full makeup or something,
Yeah.
and they didn't want to do that. I don't remember.
Well, let's get into the controversial side, rather than the appreciation side. Um, because I mean, I think everybody can appreciate what Michael Jackson did for music and what all like even overlooking the weird choices he would make for those things. Um, so our entire lives, just about early '90s to all the way up to the point, and even past the point of him dying. I mean, he's had how many accusations for sexual assault?
I'm not sure the number. I was sitting here looking up his
I think it's in the
allegations
same.
and
I think it
stuff.
is in the single digits. At least the accusers are in the single digits. I don't know if
Yeah.
it's um, but so I was watching a video the other day. I was kind of breaking it down. You is one that you suggested to me, the elephant in the
Yeah.
room video.
Yeah. I like him.
Um, Yeah. Uh, oh yeah. If you guys are watching this, go watch him. He does a lot of interesting deep dives.
And he does
Um,
he does a lot of research, so you know that he knows what he's talking about.
yeah.
And
Um,
honestly, on this topic, he's kind of like we are.
yeah. He landed in the same place as us. But
Yeah.
so it started out with, I think it all started out with a kid that he kind of took in that was a cancer survivor.
Yeah.
I want to say the kid was like 13, pretty young.
Yeah, he was
Um,
young.
and he invited him and his family into his home, and they were there for quite a long time. I think they just, I don't know if they lived there, if they just long term guested or whatever. But
Yeah, I'm not sure how I don't know if it became their residence or if he was just allowing them to stay there or what. I don't know what it was.
let me make sure that was the first. So like, um, yeah, I think that was it.
I think it was.
1993, Jordan Chandler and his father.
Yeah.
Um,
Mother even stayed, if I remember correctly, stayed at the ranch with him.
yeah, I think the father did too.
I thought the
So
father was out of the picture.
no, the father is the one that filed the claim. His
Yeah,
father
because he
was
wasn't in the picture.
and maybe that's it. Maybe he came into the picture, but from what I understand,
Part of his thing was he wanted to get the boys back because he didn't like them staying there or something like that.
right, and from what I understand, they did sleep in the same room as
Mm-hmm.
Michael Jackson, maybe even in the same bed,
Mm-hmm.
because Michael Jackson did not think that was wrong,
Correct.
which is weird. I mean, I think we can all agree on that.
It's suspect. Yes.
Yeah, it is, and it's understandable why when you hear a man in his late 30s, early 40s saying it's okay to sleep in the same bed as a kid that's not your kid.
Yeah.
Um,
And
and
when they asked him how he or what he thought when people said that was why people thought that wasn't okay, he said because they're ignorant.
yeah, right. That was actually really good. Um,
Thanks.
but so now he did say he has slept in the same bed as children, but he also said that more I think he implied that more times than not he just slept in the same room as them.
Yeah, he said he'd sleep on the floor and let them sleep in the
In the
bed.
bed.
But he also did say, I think with Macaulay Culkin and his brother, like they slept on either side of him or something in the
Yeah,
bed.
that's right. Yeah. But Macaulay Culkin came to his defense whenever he was young, pretty
Multiple
young.
times. Yeah.
He was on Larry King. I think, and this was kind of past the moment whenever he was in his prime. So like he was a teenager, I think, but not he wasn't still making a whole lot of movies.
Right.
And Larry King asked him about Michael Jackson, and he said something along the lines of, "You have to think like Michael Jackson's bedroom is 2 stories.
Yeah.
It's got 6 bathrooms in it. It's huge. So like
So what we think of as a bedroom, sleeping in the same bedroom is not always the exact same thing.
yeah, and I'll say this too. I don't really feel like Macaulay Culkin had motivation to lie. And the reason that I think that is because he had already at that point described that somebody in the industry had tried to take advantage of him in this way.
Yep.
And his father, he said that his father propagated that. Like his father wanted to use that for or at least knew something was going on and was turning a blind eye or something like that. I remember watching him tell that story.
That's
And
awful as a
and I,
father.
yeah, well, he
So it's in a lot of
legally divorced his father, I think,
yeah.
or whatever the equivalent of that is. I think it's still divorce, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean it is. I think it has another name, but it is.
But so yeah, his dad was terrible to him. So I think that's crazy because he had already come out and said this stuff had happened to him. I don't think he ever actually got sexually assaulted, but he was brave enough to say this almost happened to me as a young kid. I think that knowing that did not happen to him, and at least him. I don't know about Kieran, but so yeah,
The legal term for child divorcing their parents is emancipation.
emancipation. Oh, that's not what we usually use that for now.
What
But
is that?
so yeah, so I think that's a pretty big deal. He's not the only person that came to his defense, but I think the craziest thing about this first allegation is that
Those who disobey.
Michael brought in a team to do a documentary on this before this happened. Brought in
Yeah.
a team to like do a documentary on his inside of his life, and Jordan Chandler and his family were there during it,
Mm-hmm.
and they filmed during it. And the guy asked during it, was anything weird going on? And the Chandlers all said no, and Michael Jackson said no, that's never happened. But it was only after that happened, and after there was some sort of estrangement between Michael Jackson and the Chandler family, that they decided to come out and make accusations. And from what I understand,
Right.
Michael is the one that kicked them out because they said because apparently the kids were the other kids were causing a lot of issues in the house or breaking things. I want to say there was issues with the mother, and then only after that, and the official claim was nothing happened until after the documentary was made. 6 months after, I think it was 6 months after the documentary was made, that tried to portray Michael in
Something
a
like that.
negative light. So yeah,
Okay,
that's
so I
convenient.
just typed it up, and this is a Google AI answer, so take it with a grain of salt.
Take it with a grain of
It
salt.
says
Yeah.
in 1993, Michael Jackson began severing ties with the Chandler family. The split followed growing friction over the family frequently asking for money and disrupting Jackson's schedule. Behind the scenes, the father, Evan Chandler, had reportedly grown bitter and was unhappy about being excluded from certain trips and began plotting an extortion scheme.
Yeah. And honestly, I kind of believe that's what happened in this
Yeah.
case. Like, which so we both say we don't know exactly, we don't feel 100% sure on what we believe about this. We know where we lean, but when you break down the individual stories, it does seem like something fishy is going on from the accuser's side.
Yeah.
And they all have some sort of something to gain from that side, like, and they all at some point pretty much denied anything ever happening.
And I'm pretty sure that Evan Chandler even was quoted as saying something along the lines of this was going to destroy Michael's reputation or something like this.
Yep. But I will say this also. So they decided not to settle in court. They settled outside of court, and Michael's lawyer, who also now to this day still says that Michael never did anything, advised him, in order to not have a lengthy, drawn out court case, make a settlement for like $20 million or $28 million or something like that. And Michael, I'm pretty sure I saw him say, I wish that I hadn't done it. I wish that I'd have went to court, because He feels like that would have cleared his name better. Now, I think there was some things on Michael's part. Like they found some stuff in the house, if you remember. Like
Yeah.
what was
Pornography.
it? Yeah, like magazines and stuff that had the
Yeah,
kids'
and it had the
fingerprints
kids'
on it.
fingerprints on it. You have to understand, and I in no way defend that because that is a little bit groomy. Um, and but I
Could be.
also don't. I mean, whether it's intended to
It
be or
is
not,
behavior that a groomer would
that's why I say it's
do.
groomy,
Yeah.
groomish. It's
Yeah.
definitely
It's a red
not.
flag.
It doesn't
100% a red
help.
flag.
He's not a normal guy. This is a guy who had a freaking pet chimpanzee
Yep.
as his best friend.
Yep.
You know,
Mhm.
what grown adult man runs around with a chimpanzee as your best friend?
I'll tell you the truth. There ain't no way in the world I would ever. Because
No.
chimpanzees will eat your face.
Yeah, they have that
Yeah.
woman. They did ate that one poor woman face off.
Yeah. From
It was her
what I
neighbor, and it was her
understand,
neighbor's. It was her neighbor's chimpanzee.
yeah,
I
from what I
believe.
understand, like Bubbles never did anything bad,
No,
but chimps are
they're wild.
they're
They're wild
feral
animals.
and they're dangerous.
Yes.
Um, but so like, anyways, so yeah,
So apparently, I don't know how true this is. I'm reading this. Um, First of all, Evan Chandler was a dentist apparently who was known for giving his clients whatever drugs they wanted if they were like wealthy enough or famous enough. So that's the
yeah,
type of person he is. But he apparently admitted that he coaxed a confession out of his 13-year-old son while under the influence of sodium amytal, which is known to create false memories and to make users
yep. I
susceptible
remember this
to
part.
suggestion. Um,
I think there's definitely foul play here.
no matter how you feel about Michael,
Yeah.
Evan is a sleazeball.
Yes. And it was an extortion scheme. I do not
Yeah.
have any doubt whatsoever. I think that Evan saw an opportunity because, oh, Michael did something weird. And
Yeah.
he's like, well, I'm going to use this to my advantage. And what a crappy thing to do.
And if it was real, so they settled out of court.
Right.
Michael settled out of court because he was trying not to hurt his image.
Right.
And that is the main thing of all of this that Michael has to gain. But if that were true, he would be more careful about the things he did. He doesn't ever get more careful.
Yeah, he doubles down on all of it.
Yeah. And so I'm like, if this is what he's going to do, he would be more careful. And let's be honest. Let's speak bluntly here. We know now in 2026 that there are stuff that happens within the entertainment. He could have gotten by with it. He would have had the connections.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
and
I
not
think
have gotten in trouble.
I think that kind of stuff goes under the table. I think there is an issue with this in Hollywood because too many child stars have come out saying that stuff has happened. Elijah Wood, who is not an estranged child star, he still works, he still does things.
Yep.
Has come out and said there is a sexploitation issue within Hollywood.
A pedophilia ring, essentially.
Yep. And so you've got that. Macaulay Culkin acknowledged that as a kid before we even really knew these terms widespread. Macaulay Culkin was saying something was weird was going on. Corey Feldman.
Yep.
I think that's why Corey Feldman is weird. And
why Corey Haim is no longer here.
Yeah, he said that Corey Haim killed himself because of it. Which I don't know. Did you know that he said who he believes was the
Did he say the
perpetrator.
name?
Yeah, he said it was Charlie Sheen.
Mm.
That's crazy, isn't it?
That doesn't
Um,
surprise me. He's crazy too.
yep. Tiger blood. But so anyways, the next the next accusation, sorry, I got a frog in my throat. Um, I'm not a predator, so that's weird. But
What?
I'm a rabbit.
Oh yeah.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
we know of a frog that sleeps with a pig, Kermit and Miss Piggy. Never mind. Go ahead.
Wow. Anyways,
Said you had a frog in your throat.
that's not what I meant. Gross. So there was another accusation, um, not long after this by a guy named Jason Francia, particularly his mother, who was the housekeeper at Neverland Ranch.
Right.
And they settled out of court too. Well, it's a civil settlement, so they settled in court. For $2 million. And it did not come with an admission of guilt. So
Mm.
Michael never was proven to have done anything wrong and never admitted to doing anything wrong. The it never went to a criminal trial, I don't think, because
I
Michael
don't think
only
so
ever
either.
did one criminal trial.
Yeah.
Um, and so I don't. This one is interesting because this was somebody that worked at his estate. So there's a lot to unpack here. While I think this is the one that I'm like, okay, maybe something could have happened, and we just don't have the evidence for it. Um, but this would have been somebody that lived there for quite a long time, and but here's the other aspect of that. Also, look it up and see if there's any more details to it while I'm talking about it. The other aspect of that is that an employee, if there ends up being a severing of that work relationship, employees can be petty.
Yeah.
Um,
What was her name? Do you remember?
Blanca, uh, Blanca, where's it at? Francia. So, yeah, France with
Right.
an IA at the end instead of an E. Um, and the accusation was that I think her 7-year-old son, um, nope, just says former housekeeper's son, um, said that there was inappropriate touching whenever he was a minor. Had been, yeah, taken into
Yeah.
Jackson's home and subjected to inappropriate touching. Um, and so,
This is what this says. The allegation Jason, excuse me, her son, who was between the ages of 7 and 10 during the alleged incidents, testified that Jackson touched his genitals. Now, I don't think they came forward until 2005, but this was in like 1993.
this was 96.
It says in
Says
93,
the
former Neverland Ranch
1996
house.
the 1996 settlement.
Okay. Well, this is, it looks like 93 might have been when she came forward. In 93, former Neverland Ranch housekeeper Blanca Francia and her son Jason Francia came forward with allegations of child sexual abuse against Michael Jackson. Their claims became a central, highly publicized component of the 1993 Michael Jackson sexual abuse allegations and later the 2005 criminal trial.
This actually, as I'm thinking about this one may be weird because I want to say that the history of the Francias is that the mother had extorted before.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So
Um,
I want to say that she had done like civil suits like this and won money before. So that's one reason to really kind of question this. So
Apparently, she had said that she saw Jackson in the shower with a young boy or something.
oh
Because it says during the 2005 trial, Jackson's defense team questioned her credibility and the accuracy of her testimony, specifically attempting to undermine her claim that she had seen Jackson in the shower with a young boy.
mm,
Um, so, and here's the thing with each and every one of the claims, they seem to start off with the parents almost.
they do.
Or with the kids as they're a lot older and they stand to try to gain a lot of money.
Yes. And that seems across the board. Everybody has some sort of thing there. So there's another one that happened in 2003, which I think this is the one that ended up going to a criminal trial. Gavin Arvizo, and it went to a criminal trial in 2005. Now this one was huge. We had already been subject to the jokes about Michael Jackson at this point.
Like
go ahead.
Go ahead. You go ahead.
I was gonna say the when's at bedtime at Neverland Ranch jokes and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
You remember that one with the big hands over the little hand?
I was thinking back at Cat Williams that when he did that whole stand-up thing, he's talking about him being up in the tree, and he's like, "Do you know we can see you?"
Yeah.
And that comes from whenever he had that interviewer come in and do that little piece on him, that documentary, which ended up making him look worse.
Yeah. Even so Chris Rock did it too. Chris Rock made fun of him. Also, I remember watching it on, I think it was HBO. I had gone on a choir trip with school and we watched it in our hotel room. And Chris Rock, he was doing a stand-up, the whole thing, and he did a whole bit on Michael Jackson. He's like, the interviewer tried to make Michael Jackson look good, but Michael was not allowing that to happen.
Yeah.
And he would ask the question over and over again.
It's accurate.
That is
accurate.
But it's all kind of part of the whole doubling down thing, which is that in and of itself is really interesting to me because like he never ever backed down from saying he didn't think there was a problem with how he acted with kids.
Right.
Never once backed down. Went to his grave with it. So the Gavin Arvizo allegations, he's 15 years old at the time of the accusation. I believe that he was 13 when he said the event happened. And I think, yeah, he came into Michael Jackson's life. Maybe he was the cancer survivor. Maybe Jordan Chandler wasn't the cancer survivor. So he came in through Make-A-Wish, met Michael Jackson through Make-A-Wish.
Yeah.
And retraction. This is where the documentary happened. I mixed up my timelines. So you kind of addressed that a second ago. So I think Michael was trying to come in and do that documentary to make his life look better. The Living with Michael documentary. Yeah. And Arvizo was staying with him at the time. And apparently the claim was that Michael was kind of keeping them like a hostage.
But except they were seen out in public together.
Right. But it said he had taken their phones, which cell phones in 2003
were not the same.
Also not as commonly used. I think
Right.
I got
You
my
paid for every
first.
text and paid for everything. It's not like you sat and watched a screen and everybody had landlines.
Um, but yeah, this is another inappropriate touching um event. Now
Cell phones were
this
not the
made
lifeline that they are
no.
now.
I think you and I both got our first cell phones when we were in like seniors in high school.
Yeah.
Um,
So I graduated in 2004.
mhm.
So it would have been right around that same time that she's talking about. And those phones were not, they were not the same.
And not everybody had them. Like
No, they didn't.
so, I mean, not saying that they didn't have cell phones, but I think it's easy to look back on that time and be like, oh, they took their cell phones away. So you're like, well, most people are using landlines most of the time here. And so around this time, I'm sure you remember this. There was a lot of news stories. This was whenever Michael was arrested, and he said that
Mhm.
his
Feces.
treatment by so he got thrown into a bathroom, and there was what?
Doo-doo feces all over the walls and on the
Yep,
ceiling.
it was like that. He called it doo-doo feces. Um, I remember we thought that was really funny.
Hilarious. And we still say it.
Yep. But so and who knows? I don't know if that was true or not. He said it was. But
Yeah. I think I
so
had pulled that up a moment ago.
I mean, I'll tell you the truth. I have a little bit of a harder time believing that that was true because he wouldn't have cleaned it up, right? Or did they make him clean it up?
I don't, it says he was manhandled very roughly, resulting in the injuries like a dislocated shoulder. When he asked to use the restroom, he was locked inside for about 45 minutes, and the walls, ceiling, and floor of the holding restroom were smeared with feces, and it stunk so bad. An officer came by the window and made sarcastic, "Where's there a window in the bathroom?" remarks, asking him how he liked the smell.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. There may be
If that's
some
if
truth to
that's
it.
true,
That's awful.
those police officers have something going on to the point of like, how are you comfortable taking a dump and smearing it all over the, not just because it's a bad treatment of person, because obviously that's bad too, but like,
It sounds
I
like a,
mean,
a rest stop, like an old timey gas station out in the middle of nowhere when you go in and there would be pee and poop everywhere and boogers on the
yeah,
wall and we'd be like,
yeah,
and it stunk. And there would be like, sometimes there might be a window and you're like, this
yeah,
is disgusting.
yeah.
That's what it sounds like.
Um, but so yeah, it was a wild time, but he eventually was acquitted of
Yeah.
all the accusations. But I think the problem is this particular time seemed to cement the public opinion of Michael Jackson because
Yeah.
this was the third instance.
hmm
Um,
And by the time he had brought that camera crew in, the interviewer in, and everything, it didn't help him when he was sitting there holding hands with little boys. And
that's true.
um,
Also, I think he
that's when they
believed
asked him
that it
about
was
sleeping in the bed, and he
it
was
was
like,
well, they asked him several times, but
"Yeah," but
like,
and on this one, he was that's when he was like, "There's nothing wrong with it," and he went in to explain it more about how everybody slept in, how him and Macaulay and his brother slept in the
yeah.
bed, and
Now,
all of it.
and
That's when he,
and I don't know, like I'm white. I don't know if there is any sort of subset of black culture that does that. Or maybe his family did that. His family had problems.
his family was very
It wasn't just
weird.
him. Like his dad
Well,
was
his dad was
abusive,
abusive.
and so also we skipped over this part, but also in the middle of this period of time from 93 to 2005, his sister Latoya did something that was pretty damning to him. Now she came out
Mm,
later and said she
mm,
was lying. because she was
because of her
under,
husband.
yeah, her husband who apparently had ties to the mob or mafia or something like that. Um,
I mean, the double
he,
check. Well, nobody believes Latoya anyway about anything.
yeah, but
One of my
and I,
favorite. This is off topic. This is off topic, and we'll get back on. But one of my favorite. Okay, there's this. Do you remember "We Are the World"?
mhm,
And it had all the famous singers.
yep,
And you know who Dionne Warwick is?
yes.
And they were interviewing her, and they were talking to her about that being a part of that, and she was like, "Yeah, some the world's greatest singers and Latoya Jackson."
I don't think I knew that. Yep, yep. Well, the Jackson
Oh,
women, even like Latoya only had mild success anyway. Janet definitely was the one that
yeah,
had the most success. But even she acknowledged that she wasn't the strongest singer in the world, but she was, so she leaned into like the sultry aspect of her voice. And that's kind of what
and
worked
she
for
was a
her.
good,
But she
she was a good
wasn't,
dancer. She put on a good show,
yeah, she was a good entertainer, but she wasn't like a girl that had the vocal chops of like Mariah Carey
or Whitney
or
Houston.
Whitney Houston at the time. Yeah. And but from what we understand, she later came out and said that her husband, who was an extremely abusive, I think connected to the mob or the mafia, um, forced her to
Jack
do
Gordon.
things, forced her to do things that she didn't want to do by threatening her life and her family's lives, and said that he made her do this, which I can 100% believe is true because if you look at when she did it, it came out of nowhere. Like I
Yeah.
don't think Michael was even a point of the conversation in the, at least from the clip that I saw. No, it wasn't like somebody asked him, asked about him or whatever. But she came out, she said, "I can't condone what Michael's doing." She's like, "I love my brother, but I can't condone what Michael's doing." But also, other things in her life happened. For example, posing for Playboy. She said that she never
Yeah.
wanted to do that, and her husband forced her to do that.
And
Um,
and but and on the flip side, while I could see all of this happening, Latoya Jackson has always been very hungry for the limelight that she just didn't have and didn't really
right,
deserve. And so she sometimes it seemed like she would just do anything to get more attention.
right, which absolutely could be true.
Attention whore.
But so again, another example of like somebody having something to gain from it or some other reason to do it. They had some, like it wasn't just a noble a noble, hey, this is going on kind of thing. Um but so there were other kids in Michael's life that were asked if anything ever happened, and they denied it. But
Mhm.
two of those
Yep.
kids post mortem of Michael Jackson came out and said, "Oh no, we were lying. This absolutely did happen. One, it happened with one first. I can't remember which one came out first, and said that Michael did indeed um, do something to him. And while since you can't sue a dead man, I think he's there. He's
Yeah.
suing the estate.
They're wanting to get something from the estate. Yep.
Um, and the other one's doing exactly the same thing, and they made a new documentary about it, the Leaving Neverland documentary.
Yeah.
And apparently, this documentary only asks questions of the accusers. It doesn't delve into evidence, from what I understand. It just takes what
And it
people
wasn't
say at
it it
face
was
value.
it was aired originally at like a what do they call it? Like a film festival
Yeah.
originally, which I don't know why that seems sketch to me. If you have this to tell the world that, but you use it at a film festival,
I mean, I can see what you're saying. I will say that film
a
festivals,
documentary
yeah.
with which is supposed to be this reveal all type of thing is
I mean, you're right. And my only question to that is, I know even with documentaries, people submit them to film festivals in the hopes of networks picking them up.
getting notoriety, getting
Yeah,
yeah.
because a lot of times that's how it happens. It'll get released at a film festival, and then people from different kinds of networks will be there, and they're like, "Hey, let's acquire this," and they'll air it, and they'll have sole rights to it after that, and that kind of stuff. So while I think I think my aversion to it is that they did a documentary before it was all settled at all, because it's
Yeah.
ongoing. And
Yeah.
it was,
You're
so it
right.
seems more like a, hey, we're doing this, watch this and gain sympathy for my cause. Especially when these two guys who previously said nothing ever happened, and we're like 20 years after the thing was asked of them, after they were asked, and now they're seeking royalties. Not royalties, they're seeking damages, sorry. And it's just kind of like, you've got something to gain. You've got something to gain.
Yeah, you
Like,
do.
So it's just, yeah, it's really questionable. Now, I will say, after watching all of these interviews with Michael Jackson and that kind of stuff, we said it already, Michael was weird.
Yeah.
He was extremely
There's no
eccentric.
As much as you cannot deny his talent, you cannot
Yeah.
deny his strangeness.
Had weird behavior, weird customs. I'll say this: I don't think that he bleached his skin. I
You
think he
that was
wore a
completely
tremendous.
vitiligo?
No, I think he wore a tremendous amount of makeup. And the reason I say that is because I remember watching an interview. I think it was one of the Oprah interviews, and he raised his arm up, and you could see the vitiligo on his arm. Now, you could see like the different splotches of color. And it was clear that Michael Jackson wore makeup. Like, even if he bleached his skin, he wore makeup. He wore eyeliner, he wore mascara. But I don't, when I look at him in all those interviews, it doesn't look like he's not wearing makeup to me. It looks like he's got.
Yeah. I mean, he is definitely wearing makeup.
Even if he bleached his skin,
that was just the what people would say back then. He bleached his skin.
Now, he did try to act like he didn't know that was a possibility, and I think he lied about things. Clearly.
Yeah.
I'm
going to jump back for a moment because I don't know if you said this or not, but in these guys that made this thing that went to the film festival, this documentary, in it, they make an accusation that can't have been true since we're talking about lies.
Oh, you're talking about the train
because they
thing?
talk about something happening at the train station, and the train station wasn't even there during that time.
Yeah.
Their time.
There's inconsistencies. Yeah, I remember that part. And that's a pretty damning thing. That right there is a pretty damning thing for them. Now, I think it was just one of them that made the.
When a lot of the people either who knew him are coming out and saying he never did this, a lot of the ones who said he did do it are coming back later and saying he didn't. For these who are saying he didn't do it and now are coming out and saying he did, your story doesn't line up even with timelines.
Yeah, and you've got
could have happened.
You've got other kids that were involved with him. We didn't even mention Aaron Carter,
who defended him. It wasn't a great defense, but
right. No, it wasn't a great defense, but he. I've
seen him kiss girls all the time.
Yeah, I see him kiss girls all the time. Yeah. I'm more prone to believe that Michael Jackson was an asexual human being.
I think he was a
And
child,
yeah, like
trapped
I
in a
think,
human being,
and I was going to kind of get to that. We'll kind of
a
get
grown
to,
up spot.
yeah, we'll get to those things. But so, and also he had other adult celebrities. Like I think was Akon came to his defense.
He did.
He got super
Um,
mad at anybody potentially trashing on Michael's legacy. You had what's her name? Um, old film actress,
I'm
played
not sure which one.
Cleopatra.
Oh yeah.
I keep wanting to say Eliza Minnelli, but that's not it.
No, it's not Eliza Minnelli. And if you hadn't have said that, I could have told you who she was. Liz Taylor.
Liz Taylor. That one's it. She came to his
Uh,
defense.
I'm pretty sure Diana Ross has come
Yep.
to his defense.
Um,
Um,
Steve Harvey.
That's who one I was trying to think of his name.
Yep.
Steve
I'm
Harvey
pretty
came to
sure
his
Brooke
defense.
Shields did too. Pretty sure Brooke Shields did. I don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure she did. And because they dated. At least according to an interview that he did with Oprah at one point in the 90s.
Yeah.
So
I'm wondering if I think Lisa Marie Presley consistently defended him as well.
yeah,
And they were married.
But
You're muted.
so yeah, that's all like stuff in his. He's got a lot of character testimonies that defend him. The evidence for the most part defends him. Let's talk about the
Which part?
let's talk about the just the weirdness about him now. Like so
Well, we've already covered some of that anyway with,
Yeah.
with having pet monkeys and
pet monkeys and
climbing trees and holding kids' hands. I mean, all that's just very strange.
but the
Holding babies over.
that
the
was
railings and
real
stuff.
weird. That was real weird. Also, he married that one woman just to have kids. Essentially,
Did they marry?
they married. Yeah,
And they claim that they're claiming that his kids, but they're all white with like blue eyes.
yeah. And
No matter what color you ended up, you still were born a black man. Your seed
now I
would
will say
be-
some mixed kids do look whiter than other mixed
Sure.
kids, but it's not as common.
Yeah.
It's definitely not as common. Like Halsey's mixed,
Yeah.
and she looks pretty white.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
they
it
look
happens.
whiter than her. Like,
And it
like-
happens, but he didn't look at all white. They don't have any black features. He had he had a larger nose before he tried to look like Peter Pan. Yeah. And so even though he said that was not for cosmetic reasons, it was for his singing and for septum issues he had.
Which I'll say this too.
There's some truth to it, probably.
I think there is some truth to it, though I think he has lied. He lied 100% about the amounts of cosmetic surgery he had. And the reason I don't doubt that at all is because his stories are inconsistent.
And I watched a surgeon break down how many surgeries he thought he had by looking at his pictures through his.
He definitely had a
timeline.
surgery before Thriller. 100% had a surgery before
Yeah, he
Thriller
did.
because by the time
He
Thriller
did.
came out, his nose was significantly thinner. It looked
Mhm.
more like a normal nose at that point. Like a normal,
Yeah.
it didn't look like a
What
cosmetic nose in my opinion.
right.
But
Like what it
it
became,
was,
and then it
it
didn't
was,
what then later collapsed in on itself.
yeah. And, so, and it was longer too. But after that, it
Yeah.
definitely became shorter and pointier, significantly
Yeah.
pointier.
Yeah.
And even his stories about his plastic surgery didn't add up. I watched one interview where he's talking about plastic surgeries, and he said, I only had 2 surgeries on my nose and 1 surgery on my chin to add a little bit of a cleft to my chin. And then several years later, he said, I only ever did surgery twice on my nose. They said, and he listed, he said, said I did it on my eyelids, on my cheekbones, on my
Yeah.
chin. He said my chin, and he said, and none of that's true. And I'm like, you just lied. Somewhere you lied.
Yeah.
And so
And
I
why
think
would
he
you lie
def
about having it? Why would you lie about having it and not about not having it?
yeah.
It doesn't make
Yeah,
it don't
it
add up.
doesn't make sense. I think
I
I
would much
think
rather celebrities be like Dolly, who comes out and she's like, "Yeah, I've had a bunch of surgery." You
yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah. Um rather than trying to like acting like we're not, I mean, rather than acting like we're all dumb and
Yeah.
can't
She says,
acknowledge
"If I
that.
see things sagging back in a dragon, I'm going to have it nip tucked or whatever. It
Yeah.
takes a lot of money to look this cheap."
Um but I think that the nose had the most. I don't know if he had surgery on his eyelids or whatever, or his cheekbones. I definitely think he had surgery on his chin because you can look and tell that he did. You can look
Yeah.
and see that, hey, Thriller Michael Jackson didn't have a dimple in his chin, but Michael Jackson had a dimple in his
Mm.
chin when he died. And it was a
Mm-hmm.
stronger chin than whenever he
Yep.
was younger. And I
Abs-
think I think more than likely he
Um,
had some sort of an
he
addiction
wore
to plastic
wigs.
surgery. Now, there's a reason for that.
There is a reason for that, but
Yeah.
that I'm not saying that's a bad thing. But and it was earlier of a time than what it is now. Get by with being bald and looking
Yeah.
fine, looking bald. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But he had that burn
Because at
on his
that
head.
time
Yeah.
he did from the Pepsi commercial.
Yep.
And I'm not sure if he was unable to grow hair. I went to school with a boy who had gone through a burning, and you know, he couldn't grow hair, and his hair was splotchy. So it is very possible that that is the issue, and so he just wore wigs. But the wigs that he wore
Or
were
feminine.
they were long black wig. They looked like he had relaxer in his hair. It wasn't a very natural look.
No, it wasn't. Um, and sometimes you could absolutely see the wig line.
Yeah,
Um, and I think that I think he had body dysmorphia with his face. And I think that came from abuse from his father because his father
sure.
used to make fun of him for having a really big nose.
Yeah,
Or at least he claimed his father did.
I think it
And
was Cat Williams that called it a bell pepper nose.
yeah, um, which I,
And I'm
I
making sure that
that
I'm saying I believe it was Cat Williams, so that it
yeah,
doesn't sound like a racial thing here.
right.
You
I
know,
mean, it was. I mean, people have different kinds of noses. I think it's terrible for a dad to make fun of a kid,
yeah,
for the way that's for something he can't help, and I think his father is probably the root cause of the vast majority of his issues.
all of their issues. All of the kids have, I seem to have
Yeah.
some sort of issue, and abuse. That's why abuse is so horrible. There's a difference between punishment and training your children and even spanking your children, and then abusing your children, whether that's physically, verbally, emotionally, whatever that is. It leaves a lasting impression on them, and the voice that you speak to them with and the things that you say to them is how their inner monologue is going to be for the rest of their
Mm-hmm.
lives. And I
Yeah.
think that's what we're seeing with him. And I don't think he ever got to grow up.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Not normally. He grew up in age, but he was trapped as a child almost.
Yeah.
And he wanted
I
to
w-
protect children, I think. I mean, Macaulay Culkin believes that he protected him from going to the Epstein.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that there is a huge possibility that Michael looked at kids less like an adult to child and more like peer to peer.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I don't think he had as much interest in being friends with adults, which I think he was friends with adults. Don't get me wrong, there was clearly something in him where he loved having friendships with kids. And
Yeah.
I know at one point he said that he wanted to adopt 2 kids from every country in the world.
Holy
Um,
night.
yeah, that'd have been so much. Because there's hundreds of countries,
Right.
and he just started his own
Maybe continent, but
little city. And maybe that's what maybe he said continent, but I think he said country.
I'm
And
sure he did.
but so he clearly had some sort of I want to be friends with kids thing, and it feels like it could have been a mental disability that he suffered with, a mental disability, or maybe, and I don't know this, I'm not making this claim, but maybe he was on the
Something
spectrum.
like what we'll
Yeah.
now call autism.
Yeah,
So that-
maybe he was on.
Yeah.
Maybe he was a high functioning autistic person.
Yeah, we didn't talk about
I say
autism
high
back then.
functioning. They don't like you to say high functioning, but you know what I mean. So like maybe he was lightly on the spectrum, and so it's just there clearly was something there that he dealt with. I think it's a byproduct of all the stuff he went through. And I'm going to just go out and say this. It seems like so many child stars have something like this.
Yep.
And it really kind of begs the question, is it okay for us to put children in that position? Because so much ends up causing long-term damage. I know one of the girls, I can't remember, the blonde-headed girl from iCarly came out and said her mom abused her and had a lot to do with the stuff
He
that
book about it called I'm Glad My Mom Died. Something
yeah,
like
she wrote a
that.
book about it. I'm glad my mom died. The Coreys, they both had issues. Do you remember, I'm trying to think of a really huge movie. He was a child actor. He's dead now. He was huge in the late 80s, early 90s. He was in a movie with Rodney Dangerfield called Ladybugs. He was in a movie with Chuck Norris called Sidekicks. He played Bastion in the sequel to the Neverending Story. He was in that TV series Sea World, not Sea World. It was I can't remember. It's Sea something.
I'm talking about Jonathan Brandis.
Yes, he killed himself because he wasn't having the success that he had as a child actor. There's too many for me to even be able to pull out of my brain right now. How many kids had terrible, terrible experiences, and why they're weird now. Raven Simone was, I mean, she claimed that Bill Cosby did something to her, and she's kind of out there now, and it really, is it worth it? Is it worth having kids with stardom simply because we need them in movies and we want to have music groups and that kind of stuff? And now it's even more accessible because parents are pushing this on an influencer level. And that's causing a tremendous amount of What?
I was going to ask you about the Raven Samoan because I haven't heard that.
I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure she was one of the ones that said that Bill Cosby abused her. Let's look.
From everything I remember, she stood behind him,
Really?
and well, she was saying, I think she, um, yeah, I think so.
I swear I
I
thought
just
she was
don't.
one of them. Well, I mean
I just
that's
didn't want.
wrong.
I just didn't want to put anything out there, and that's that's not true. I want to make sure that we're.
Right? Yeah, yeah.
It says Raven
Said 2014 she
Simonet
denied
is actually,
being
I think, how
yeah. She denied rumors of being among his victims in 2014. So I recant that. I thought she was one of the ones that said that. But
sure.
even so, it's still there's still more than there's so many kids that are in terrible situations. And I'll say this now, a recent thing coming out because there's a lot of parents pushing their kids online. You have like Vlad and Nikki, and then the Deanna show and Ryan's World and all kinds of kid influencers that
Yeah.
I mean they're predominant.
Which is why now that's why now you can't you can't monetize stuff made for children on
Yep.
YouTube. A lot of that had to do
But they
with
still
that
they still
Ryan's
do
World.
it through brand deals and stuff like that. And
Yeah, they do.
the parents are the executors of all that, if that's the right word to use. And they recently have started realizing that kids who were influencers for a long time, whether that be as teenagers or whatever, especially girls, once they kind of
Yeah.
age out of that, girls are more and more. I'm not going to say there's a study because I don't think there's a study, but people are just realizing that this is a thing. A lot of the girls that were influencers, child influencers, are making transitions into being OnlyFans models.
Mm.
And it seems like the pressure of being an entertainer online, an influencer online,
Being relevant.
and that's the only way they know how to, that's the only thing they know to do. So they
Yeah.
end up I guess I don't want to say this, but naturally they end up selling themselves in a different way, in a more exploitative way.
I mean, there are, and you hate to say it this way, but you know what I mean. Their parents have already kind of hoard them out in a way.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And so
And
they just go the extra mile.
And essentially, that's like to full circle back. That's what Michael Jackson's dad did to him and the rest of those kids. And that I think that's why he was weird like he was. So to sum it all up for me, I would say I am 90% confident that Michael Jackson didn't do anything.
Yeah.
I would say
where I stand.
90. Yeah.
That's where I stand. He was weird, and there were issues, and there were some red flags, and there were things that he should not have done. But and he lied about stuff, but I don't think he had the least. Protecting his reputation was the main thing that he had. Everybody else had money and attention to gain from accusing him.
And he came out and said he wished that he had not taken some of those too.
And he was an easy target.
Yeah.
So
he was an eccentric multimillionaire, and maybe even, I don't think he was a billionaire, but he had a lot of money. And
since then, LaToya, since all of her other stuff, has not only said that she
lied,
had lied, but she also has said that he had called her at one point saying that they were going to kill him and all this other kind of stuff. And if you watch that, it's on The View. If you watch that, she's like, "I'd love to ask," and then you see Whoopi go and shuts her down because there's big names involved. And
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I want to see that later.
But I think that's where we both
Yeah,
land,
I
and I
think
think
we've-
that's where.
I think we've reached the end of the rabbit hole here.
And honestly, the people that have accused him, and I feel like there needs to be you can't apologize to a dead man, but his family, his children still have to deal with this. I think, and I think it's time to cut that. It's time to stop. Because we don't have enough. There's not enough evidence to really say this is what happened.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So,
well,
see the window.
Sun's getting real low.
See the door. But
I don't know how much more of this emotional abuse I can handle.
I'm just like Michael's daddy.
Adios.
Oh, good night.
Down and down the rabbit hole.